Blue and red lights washed over our family photos like they were blinking ghosts. Paula Benton stood on our porch with her chin high and that smug little clipboard, and the officer who walked in, Nolan Brooks, was halfway to the usual routine when his eyes hit the gold frame on our entry table, and he asked, careful as a man defusing a bomb, "Ma'am, are you Judge Avery?" "Blake?" Paula laughed like a fork on a plate. "Oh, please, she's nobody. She thinks she's above the rules." But the room shifted. Even the rain felt like it paused, and I knew this wasn't just a fussy HOA moment anymore. This was our life about to get dragged into the street. It didn't start with sirens. It started with a porch and a maple and a packet of papers thick as a ham. We moved to Cedar Ridge for the quiet. 3 chairs on the front steps, dogs that stop for a scratch, kids circling the cul-de-sac like little planets. And we tried to be those neighbors who say, "Come by," even if the floor's sticky. Our daughter Emma ran a lemonade stand for the school library one Saturday. $5 in quarters turned into 60-something when people overpaid with a wink. I built a temporary wooden ramp for Mr. Alvarez after his hip surgery so he could sit with us and tell baseball stories, and we planted a small tomato box that looked like 3 red buttons on a green coat. Then the first letter slid under our mat, not mailed slid. Notice of violation in bold, like it was shouting at us. 3 counts, commercial activity without permission. Lemonade, unapproved. Structure ramp, vegetable cultivation visible from the street. 3 tomatoes, you can't make it up. And at the bottom, this handwritten line with smiley energy, but not a friendly soul in it, resolve within 48 hours to avoid escalation. Paula Compliance Chair. The fine said $2,500. I laughed the way you laugh when you swallow a stone and want to pretend it went down easy. Avery sat up with tea and sticky notes, and the bylaws tapping pages like a surgeon mapping an incision. Charity sale is permitted. Temporary safety accommodations are permitted. Plantings should be maintained. It doesn't say no food. So I wrote a polite response, attached a photo of Emma handing Mrs. Howard a paper cup, both of them grinning, like their eyes forgot how to be eyes. 2 days later, another letter landed. Fine, raised to $3,500. Paula started logging plates at dawn, snapping pictures with red circles, like she was solving the Lindbergh case. We filed a formal appeal, ironed a boring black dress. I combed my hair, like a man begging for mercy from a clock. We waited in the clubhouse back room with dusty fake plants. Heard voices, then a guy with a big tie opened the door, just long enough to say, "Meeting canceled." And I swear I could hear the second-hand smirk. A final notice came, $5,000, and that night Paula called the police to our house like she was ordering takeout for trouble, but Brooks kept it level. "Ma'am, HOA fines are civil. We keep the peace. We don't enforce association penalties." And before he left, he gave us a card and said if anyone tried to shut off utilities without a court order, call 911. "Utilities?" I asked. "Sometimes people get creative," he said. And buddy, we learned what creative meant. An hour later, when a pickup with a yellow light bar rolled to a stop at our curb, and a guy in a reflective vest went straight for the round cap by the mailbox, the water shut off, with a long T-wrench like he was about to open our life like a can. "Brooks cut him off, sir." "Don't touch that," and Paula tried to wave a fake authority wand. Compliance authorized tapping her chest like a badge, but the worker saw the look on the officer's face and decided tonight wasn't the night to get arrested for plumbing. We thought maybe that was it. We breathed. The dog shook his ears. The tomato sauce on the stove smelled like a normal life. Then, just before midnight, I heard metal scrape. The cap popped 2 hooded figures crouched in the dark. One twisted the wrench the wrong way, and the earth answered. A brown geyser punched out of our lawn. The sidewalk groaned, the curb dropped, voices turned to panic, and we crawled on our bellies with a coil of yellow rope, like we were in a movie we never asked to be in. Pulled one man free, then the other, then even Paula, when the mud swallowed her leg up to the thigh, and her voice stopped being queen and started being human. Heel first, Avery told her calm, like a surgeon twist. Think boot, and yeah, that happened. We saved the person who'd spent 2 weeks trying to shrink our life to rules printed on cheap paper. Morning brought a lawyer with cologne you could almost see, Grant Wilder, who served a lien, and intent to foreclose for the $5,000+ fees. You can pay today and avoid further action, he said. Like a cat smiling. Avery didn't blink. We have an active appeal. Your lien is improper. And he said, disputed. Not improper, like he was flicking lint. He left the paper on our mat, like a threat napkin. And 10 minutes later, a tow truck idled at our driveway, with a private security guy doing his best mall cop chin. A fresh sign taped to our mailbox said illegal parking tow, authorized by HOA. The driver slid metal under our sedan, in our own driveway, and the hydraulics whined until Brooks swung around the corner and placed his palm on the truck hood like it was a spooked horse. Kill the engine, the metal sighed back to earth. That's when the neighborhood got bigger. Then the neighborhood cameras appeared, a black SUV with government plates pulled up, and a woman from the state attorney's office walked down our path. Like a fact arriving. She said they'd received multiple complaints about the HOA, and also a conflict of interest rumor about Avery. And Avery said plainly she had never presided over anything involving this place. We'll confirm, the attorney said. And Paula, desperate for a last strike, waved a bright yellow page. She called an arrest warrant for my wife, and look. I'll never forget the way the attorney opened it like something fragile and filthy. At the same time showed the blurry seal, the typo, where state of became state O, and said, this is a forgery, and you could feel the block tilt toward truth. Alvarez stepped up with his cane and said what nobody had wanted to say out loud. Harassment, falsified stuff. Contractors pushed to shut off water, and a guy in a hoodie showed up mad and shaking with a crowbar and a crumpled envelope saying, Paula promised him $5,000, waved a handwritten receipt that said services rendered and her name on it. And the attorney bagged it. Officers moved with open hands. The man fought a little, then just ran out of fight. That night, we were supposed to move under protective detail, and then the gate squealed. A hooded figure knocked 3 times, friends of the HOA. The dog lost his mind. I grabbed a heavy flashlight and a cast-iron skillet, because sometimes the hero tool is whatever. Closest cops chased floodlights, cornered the runner, and when the hood came down, the block gasped. It was Wilder, the HOA lawyer himself. He got cuffed for attempted burglary and intimidation and conspiracy. And in his car, they found a folder marked confidential, Cedar Ridge, with payment logs and names and tidy little transfers that smelled like something rotten wearing a necktie. While everyone was still processing that his black sedan at the end of the street went up in flames, not a spark, a boom, and the air tasted like rubber, and fear the bomb squad hunted a second device, and an evidence bag held a half-burned note that read, "Stop digging, or next time it won't be just cars." By dawn, our maple was chainsawed at the core, 3 hard bites a groan, and the trunk crashed across our porch, crushed the ramp I built for Mr. Alvarez. Leaves everywhere like confetti from the wrong parade. a gas can. With a taped note. Leave now, next time it's the house. Neighbors quit whispering, they started talking like people who realized the bill they'd been paying wasn't for lawns and lights, it was for someone's scheme. And the state attorney said the words you wait to hear when you're tired of being scared. Tomorrow, we file charges. The extraordinary meeting was called under the bylaws. The clubhouse smelled like copy paper and old coffee, and I stood at a plain lectern and told it straight. The letters, the canceled hearing, the lien on our mat, the tow on our driveway, the water cap, the rope, the forged warrant, the receipt, the burned car, the tree, the notes, while the city inspector, the fire captain, and Officer Brooks filled in the law like rails under a train, and the attorney put the fake warrant on a screen, circled the typo, slid ledger copies across the table to the board, and a neighbor played a phone video of Paula at the water cap, saying, "Turn it now, no cops." And the room went quiet in that way. Rooms go quiet right before something breaks. The bylaws are plain. Any officer credibly accused of fraud, forgery, or extortion can be suspended pending investigation by a majority vote if a quorum is present. A motion was made to suspend Chair Paula Benton. Effective immediately. Hands rose one by one, like people reclaiming their own names. And when the gavel tapped the table, Paula's lanyard looked suddenly small. The state attorney stepped forward. "Ms. Benton, you are under arrest for forgery and conspiracy to commit fraud." And yeah, it landed not loud, just heavy like gravity coming back. If this were a neat story, we'd end there. Badge off cuffs on porch, rebuilt new maple in a hole, and everybody smiling. But here's the truth. On my way out, a man in a navy suit I hadn't seen before held the door, smiled small, and said, "You did the right thing." His cologne said, "Big money." His SUV idled like a patient animal, and he added almost like a compliment, almost like a warning. Cedar Ridge isn't the only place with a compliance problem. Then he left. So did we win, or did we just cut the first string on a net we don't see yet? You tell me. Were we right to pull every thread, even when the sweater started to unravel the whole block? Or is there a point where the wrong kind of order feels safer than no order? While you wait for the right kind to arrive, drop your take in the comments. Tell me where I was right, where I was wrong, what you've seen on your street, who hid behind rules, who stood up anyway. I'm reading every story, and if you've got one of your own, this is the place to put it.